In the movie Candyman, a bright, scholarly, artistic black man is essentially murdered and hung because of the fact that he impregnated a white woman and her father didn't approve, so he sent the lynch mob and they basically hung him and killed him with bees after covering him in honey. And then he returns and is basically a monstrous ghost that just wreaks havoc throughout the film on anybody, no matter what the race of the person is. The monstrous figure in Candyman serves as a representation of the social anxiety regarding the mixes of culture and races in the United States. Because in an article, Life is a Movie, the author says that Candyman is a ghost of America's dark past, and Candyman is a symbol of slavery and racism, and it is spawned into a ghost that keeps haunting Americans regardless of their race. And the ghost referring to how slavery is a topic that many do not want to talk about because you can't see a ghost. So the ghost part of it is referring to how people try to forget it. They don't want to see it, hoping that it goes away. And most of these people being from non-minority groups, I use the example of how African American history isn't really taught in a lot of schools. It's not really important, but it should be. Because that's an important part of history, especially to African Americans. And Candyman, he acts as a symbol to remind people that race is a real thing, and that's also in the article Life is a Movie in the fourth paragraph, I believe. And basically that slavery and racism cannot be forgotten because it is important to our history, and it pretty much defines us. African Americans, sometimes we feel like that we're not treated equally or fairly. Sometimes, and the movie shows this, when there's like a huge media presence for Helen, but the two black victims that got killed, like who could care less, like it really isn't a big deal. And in the Irish Journal of the Gothic and Horror Stories of Candyman by Donaldson, he refers to the writing on race and melodrama to show that there are two icons that define the moral issue of America, and that those two are the suffering black male body and the threatened white female body. And basically, to conclude this explains the thesis perfectly, because when these two icons mix, the white woman will always be threatened and the black man will always be the threat, especially in previous time where racism was more prevalent. And in Candyman's case, this led to his horrendous murder. In the book On Monsters by Asma, page 232, it says that the community sees the killing as a cleansing for all things impure, and the death, and it is seen to destroy and cleanse the impurity. And Candyman does a good job of showing how people act and view other races, because in the minds of the killers of Candyman, when they hung him and sent the bees after him, they felt as if he was a monster and they were killing a monster. So they were making something right that was wrong, which is understandable, and I could see that point. But Candyman, it basically shows, the violent history of America, as a whole.